Okay, so let's increase the security level to the highest security, which is fairly secure. So sometimes it can be bypassed, sometimes it can't be bypassed. And in this lecture, I'm actually just gonna highlight something for you. So let's try and use the same exploit that we were using before. So if we copy this, and we're gonna turn on our interceptor, and I'm gonna put a normal username and password for this now. And then we're gonna intercept it here and modify it like we did in the previous video. Okay, now we're going to forward it. And as you can see, it's telling us there is a bad username and password. So obviously this is more secure. And actually in this particular case, in this page, it is not injectable anymore with this security level. It doesn't implement the best security practice, but for this specific case, it's secure enough. So we're gonna have a quick look at it, but it's not the best way to secure your website. So we're gonna talk about the security part at the end of the section, and we're gonna talk about the best way to secure yourself against SQL injections. But for now, this is noteworthy to see because it's a quick implementation, and if you know what you're doing, you can fix your problem quickly. Say, for example, if you had a problem and you don't have enough time to change the implementation to the most secure way, which we're going to talk about later, then you can just do it this way quickly, just so that you are secure enough until you can implement it and change the code to be more secure. So what they're doing in this page now, this doesn't always secure you 100% again, but it is, in this particular case, it is secure. So this is the code for the login. And right here we have the case 1, which is the arrogant or the security level 1. And here we have the code for security level 5. So you can compare the two codes. The main difference is this select statement. So I'm going to delete everything and I'm just going to keep these two select statements so we can compare them. Okay, so you can see here in the not very secure statement, it selects star from accounts where the username is $username and the password is $password. So basically, whatever you input in the text boxes for the username and the password is being directly used in here. Now, there was client-side filtration and we were able to bypass that using the proxy. So whatever we input in the proxy was being substituted in here. So we could modify the code by setting the username is equal to, or 1 is equal to 1, and then we added a comment. So basically what happened in this statement right here, instead of the username, that was substituted. So whatever we put in here was substituted and this value was injected. So this was changed to a quotation and then or 1 equals 1 comment, and all of this was basically ignored. Everything that comes after this was ignored, which made our statement work. So as you can see here, we closed the quote that was already inserted, and then we added or1 is equal to 1, which is a true statement. We put the username is admin, actually. That's what we did. So this would be admin as well here. So basically it's selecting anything where username is equal to admin and it doesn't care about the password, which was giving us access to the admin account. Now we could have injected also in the password saying or1 is equal to 1. Again, it gives us a true statement and this was getting executed. In this particular case here, in the secure one, what they're doing is they're doing a function which is called real escape string. And what this does, it basically removes characters such as the new line character, the break character, and the quotation. So a single quote or a double quote. So it scans the input that we put right here, and it removes any quotations that we put. So if we put the single quote right here, or when we were putting the double quote, it was removing it. So when it removes it, it basically renders everything inside it as a string. Another problem with this now, I said this is only secure in this particular case because they're also adding a quotation right here before and after the input. So if there was no quotation, then our injection, what we need to inject, will not need to contain a quotation. And that way we'll be able to bypass this function. But because they're actually hard-coding quotations in here, right here and right there at the end, at the start and at the end of the input. And then they're also escaping any quotations. So if the input contains any quotations, they're removing it. Then whatever we inject, whatever text you put in there will be considered as a string. So it will only be considered as normal text and it will never be considered as code. Therefore, it will never be executed on the server. Only in this case. So let's just have examples. So we have our admin here. So this is the injection that we're always using. So if we're going to put this, so this is our username here. So basically what's happening is this is coming up to the code. And then the code is going to scan this and it will notice that there is a quotation right here. And because there's a quotation, it's going to remove it. This particular function will remove it. So after the function is applied, this will disappear. And also the function will disappear. So this is what's going to look like to the code, to the computer. This is what's going to see. And it'll basically just see a normal string, and which is contained within 2 quotes as well. So we need to remove the dots here. And notice that they already hard-coded these 2 quotes. So because of that, our injection will never work. Now, if they didn't include these codes, if they didn't hard code them here, if they didn't exist, even though they use the function, this injection will work. But because they use the quotes, whatever that's going to come inside the quotes will be considered as string. And because they're checking that our input should not contain quotes on the server side, then whatever we put will be stripped out from the quotes and it'll never be considered as code. Again, this isn't the best way to secure your website. I'll explain the best way at the last lecture of this section, but this is a good way to temporarily secure your website if you didn't have time to implement the proper procedure.